Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Craig.
and this is Songwriter's Tales. Craig, today, another legend. Another, I
Yeah.
keep saying, oh, this guy's my hero. It's like, as we were, and you're going to go down this list in a second, but as I pulled up his credits for his engineering and producing credits, there are 5 pages of one monster song or one monster record
That's
after
right.
another. So let's
That's right.
talk a little bit about Ed Seay.
Well, Ed Seay is the one guest we've had on now that has probably been mentioned and
Mhm.
accredited and said that people love him more. We've had more guests that have been on our show talk about Ed Seay and what a wonderful man he is and a brilliant uh, producer and engineer. But here comes his list. You ready? Blake Shelton, Garth Brooks, Martina McBride, Dolly Parton, Pam Tillis, Collin Raye, Ricky Skaggs, Alison Krauss. Take a breath. John Prine, George Jones, Merle Haggard, Hank Williams Jr., Highway 101, the Desert Rose Band. He did something with Elvis songs that you don't want to miss.
Oh man,
Yeah, Daryle
what a great
Singletary,
story. Yeah.
Wynonna Judd, the Beach Boys, Marie Osmond, Melissa Manchester, Paul Davis, Peebo Bryson, Brick, on and on and on. And this is just part one of a 3-part series. What do you say, Mark?
Let's do it. Hey, it's Mark. We are back at Songwriters Tales with Uber engineer and producer Ed Seay. And Craig, you've known Ed for a long time. I've only known of Ed for a long time because I went back and looked at your credit list today just to kind of refresh myself. And I thought, man, you've pretty much mixed all of my favorite records for the last 30 years, or you produced them, or you produced and you engineered them. So
Shelton,
it's a
yeah.
pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Fun to be here.
Craig, I'll let you kind of kick us off with
I,
who we're talking to.
I'll be happy to. You know, Ed, we are so happy that you're here, and thank you for taking the time. Um, when I had mentioned that we started a podcast, the first thing you said was, "Podcast, don't ask me to come on." Because you are one of the most influential and I'll say the word popular guys out there in Nashville.
Podcastable.
Podcastable.
That's a new word.
There you go. That's a new one. I'm
Thank
going to
you for
use
that.
that.
Thank you.
You're very podcastable.
Well, for those that have been watching and listening to our show, Kelly McCoy, the radio personality from Atlanta, was on episodes 49 through 51. And Kelly is responsible for me meeting Ed. And of course, we've had Pat Buchanan on, Steve Dorff, Kyle Lenning, and everybody. You know, your name comes up, and of course, everybody just has wonderful things to say about you. In fact, we've got Alan Shacklock coming on the show in 2 days? Is that right? In 2 days.
That's great.
And I didn't realize this, but talking with Alan, I've known Alan I think a little bit longer than I knew you, and I didn't realize you guys had known each other all the way back into the 70s, back in probably Web 4 maybe.
4 days, way back.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
if I'm just thinking, would you mind giving us a brief history of just where you came from? I know you're a bass player as well, and you're a vocalist because you've got credits on that. And would you kind of give us a brief history of where you were back in the Atlanta days, and we'll talk about more after that.
Sure. In the Atlanta days, I'd graduated from University of Georgia.
Go Dogs.
Yeah. And go Dogs. And actually, you were talking about Steve Dorff. Steve and I were at school about the same time, but didn't know each other then. I was in the journalism school as well. See, I came out of, I've been playing trombone ever since the 5th grade. and then all the way through high school and went to college but I didn't want to be a music major at the University of Georgia. The reason is back then, unlike it is today, they had 3 categories. They had music education, which means you can teach elementary and high school band, which is some of my greatest influences came out of that, but that wasn't what I wanted to do. Or music performance, which means I could take my trombone and audition for a symphony somewhere. Nah, didn't want to do that. And then there was music composition, writing music that's extremely highbrow but not what I was hearing on the radio, and it's not what I wanted to do, you know? So, well, let's see, what else is creative? I know, journalism. So, I went to journalism school over there, but really my heart was still in music, and all my friends were in the music school over there, and I was playing in combos and rock and roll bands and little nightclub bands to make a buck or two, and got out of that. I graduated there, went to back to Atlanta. The first studio was not Web 4, it was Master Sound down on Spring Street.
I remember that.
It was, at the time, it was 16 track, and no automation, no auto locators. They hadn't been invented yet. I remember what a big deal when the Jeep Harned auto locator rolled in the door, and it was like amazing, you know.
It's the
Because
little
otherwise
things.
you had to watch the tape and watch and you didn't want to roll back too far and hit the tones. Everybody's got headphones on, and you hear, "Ooh,"
Oh my God.
yeah, how to win friends and influence people. So not good. So anyway, I was there for a couple of years, and an opportunity opened up at Web 4, and I moved over there, and it was a great opportunity. Was a private studio owned by a record company. It was Bang Records. Now, Eileen Burns was the president of Bang Records. Her husband was the head of the original Bang Records back in New York. I never met Bert. He died really young, like age 39 of a congenital heart problem. But while he was up there running, it was an offshoot of Atlantic, and his label had Van Morrison, Brown Eyed Girl, and all those records. Also, Neil Diamond, Cherry Cherry, Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon, Thank the Lord for the Nighttime. Big run there. The Strange Loves, I Want Candy. Also, Hang on Sloopy, you know. I mean, so it was a hotbed, and Bert was a songwriting whiz, a genius. He wrote Hang on Sloopy, he wrote Cry Cry Baby, he wrote Twist and Shout,
Wow.
Piece of My Heart. I mean, you know, he was serious, but died young. And so Eileen moved the label back to down to Atlanta. Basically all the people on the label said, wait a second, now she's running the label and she's got all these kids, and I don't think so. Doesn't make. So then she moved and kind of started over. So by the time I got there, she'd been rolling for 3 or 4 years, you know, before I went to work over there. And that's really where I got to start. And they only had 2 or 3 acts. One of the acts was a fellow named Peeble Bryson,
Gosh.
great singer, great
Yeah.
talent. If anybody that knows any of the Disney movies, Aladdin, A Whole New World,
What a
Beauty
monster
and the
voice.
Beast, he's the one singing those things with Regina Belle or Celine Dion or somebody.
Yeah.
So anyway, we started back in the primitive days with he was just an artist, and he'd go in and it's really in development, and he'd try to write some songs, and he was recording some stuff. So I was engineer down there, and I'd record what he did, and it was very, very loose in terms of, like, we'd be working along and it may be like, we're not feeling it right now. Hey, let's go play tennis. Okay, so people would get it. We go play tennis. But the only time we had to really jump on it was when Eileen says, "Okay, I need that record out day after tomorrow." So we had to jump on it. The other one of the other artists down there was a fellow named Paul Davis, and he was on the label. He had only had at that point one sort of hit record. It went to number 37, a song called "Ride 'Em Cowboy," which was a great song, but just didn't have a huge chart impact. And so we started working on some records together, and then he really was at a brief time. He got tired of trying to be an artist. He hadn't had any real success. And he just he loved being in the studio and writing songs. And so, he wrote a song. I remember he came over to my apartment, and said, "Hey, I got a new song." And he played it on Rhodes or Wurlitz or whatever keyboard I had in the living room there in that apartment. And, it was "I Go Crazy." And, it
Wow.
was like, wow, okay, this is
Yeah,
great. And
you have a song.
so we go to the studio and we start demoing this song. Now he had, there weren't drum machines. They weren't invented yet. We had a Korg rhythm ace, and it had buttons on the top, and
Yep.
we'd boom, boom, boom,
That's right.
boom, boom, so that was our drum machine. And, so he played Rhodes. I played bass, to this, and the drum and the rhythm ace was our drum machine. We got, a fellow named a great, pianist named, Alan Feingold to come in and played the grand piano part. This studio we were in, by the way, was pretty incredible. It had been, Chips Moman's studio. Now, Chips was famous for being in Memphis and the Memphis Boys, and produced In the Ghetto, and just giant Suspicious Minds, big, huge song. He was one
huge
of the hottest
songs.
producers on the planet. And so with Reggie Young, the guitar player, Gene Chrisman, all those guys. So he gets the idea, let's go to Atlanta. I'm feeling it in Atlanta. So he moves to Atlanta, buys this location before Eileen's even involved, buys this place. He gets cold as ice. I mean, iceberg, can't catch a cold, nothing's going right. He said, whoops, this is not a good move. At that time, Eileen was looking for a place to buy, so she bought the studio. So the piano was a 9-foot Baldwin concert grand that Ferrante and Teicher used to use as one of their road pianos. It was there.
Mm-hmm.
The original sitar on Cry Like a Baby, box tops was laying around over there.
Wow.
And so it was pretty well stocked up. And the original Electrodyne console that Chips had that In the Ghetto and Suspicious Minds was made on. So it was, we were working in that studio. We had lots of outboard gear. And the interesting thing was, we didn't need to have a lot of discipline as far as come in at 9 and work till 5 and punch the clock. But when there was something to do or a record to make or something, we were all doing it. And I became what I call a member of the No Life Club. And because I realized, okay, I love this stuff. Now, I when I came out of college for a second there, half a second, I thought I'll be in a band. I want to get in a band. We'll be big. We'll hit the road. And I was in several bands, but the one thing or another was always usually material. We didn't have the material, or some of the players weren't quite the right things. And so, but after being in the studio a little bit, it was like, this is what I want to do.
That's cool.
I found it at an early age, and so that was what led us to the point I'm talking about now. So we were in there and working on I Go Crazy, and so he played like I said, he played Rhodes, I played bass. the rhythm ace. We got Alan Feingold to come in and play grand piano, overdub it. And most of that record was just Paul and myself. I mean, we were usually the only ones really there. There was a fellow that was backing me up there. I think Richard Wells. I think he was. I needed an assistant, and I think I hired him. I can't remember. It's too hard to remember. So he may have punched in a note or two when I was playing bass. But it was. And then a great guitar player in town named Kenny Mims owed me a favor. So I'd done a favor for him. So I said, "Hey, favor, come in and play guitar on this demo of Paul's." So he comes in and plays a few swells here and there. And then I took the tape to New York and we put strings on it at CBS. We had a friend up there, Michael Zager, who was a great, and it wasn't Zager 2525, wasn't that record. He was a New York arranger. He'd been in a band called 10 Wheel Drive back when, the earlier days, but he was a great arranger, great producer, writer. And so he did a chart, flew up, got the strings on it, flew back. And so at this point, Paul said, since I really don't want to be an artist anymore, and he went up, told Eileen, he said, I'm thinking about pitching this to Lou Rawls as a follow-up for You'll Never Find.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And in her New York way, you ain't giving that to Lou Rawls. Get back there and make me a record. And so we go back there and we finish out the record. We didn't have a drummer. He said, well, I know a guy. So he flies in James Stroud. And James comes in, and he was out of Malaco, and Paul knew him from Mississippi because they both grew up in Mississippi. So he was the last thing to go on the record. There were 3 tracks left. So I recorded kick and snare and some hi-hat leak on the snare track, and then toms and overheads or anything. That was on the 3rd track. That was it. And so then we stayed up and mixed it, and he sang backgrounds, I sang some backgrounds, and that was the record. And we went one chorus too long. We chopped it out, and after about 3 hours, we didn't have automation. Just mark faders and push. And I looked at him and said, "Sounds good to me." He says, "Sounds good to me. I think we're done." So Paul really produced that record. I was there and I was helping, but it was Paul. And so got it mastered, and that goes in the charts, and it winds up getting in the Guinness Book of World Records because it was the most consecutive weeks of any record in the chart. It broke Johnny Mathis's record of Wonderful Wonderful. It was in the charts 1 week longer than his. So we were in the Guinness Book of World Records for 2 or 3 years until Tainted Love came out.
Oh, my Lord.
Soft
Cell.
And so they beat us by a few weeks. So there goes that. But anyway, that was what Atlanta was about, and working with Peebo, and then in Atlanta, there was no country music to speak of, at least that anybody knew. It was pop, and it was R&B. And so, with some rock, I mean, but the problem I had with Atlanta at the time was, and it was a great experience. That's where really nobody taught me to engineer. I kind of taught myself because, like I was saying, the No Life Club, after everybody would leave, I'd stay later and pull out tapes and mix them and figure out how to use some of this outboard gear. There were no manuals, nobody to ask. So I knew where I wanted to get, and I wanted to get there quicker. So I stayed up and worked on this stuff. And, but Paul really taught me how to produce records.
Well, I am the morning DJ from WSB, baby. I'm talking about Kelly McCoy from WQXI, WSB Radio, and even all the way back to the old University of Georgia days back in the 70s. You need to hear Kelly McCoy's wonderful podcast, episodes 49, 50, and 51. Go there now.